Now, if you look at the Dramatica structural chart, some of you may be familiar with it, some may not. Over here, we have 4 different parts of the structure, and they deal with 4 different kinds of subject matter. They're called universe, physics, psychology, and mind. And I'm going to hold that up here close to the camera for you so that you can see a little better. Universe, physics, psychology, and mind. Now, right here, if I can turn it to the light a little bit. Universe, physics, psychology, and mind over here, or mind over matter. What these really are is an external state and external process. An internal state, or internal state over here, sorry, mind, internal process, and psychology. Now, looking at them, you can see that these are states and these are processes. These are external and these are internal. If you look at any problem you might encounter in real life, if you wanted to divide it into a subcategory to try and zero in on the solution, would you find the solution being an internal or external state or process? Which is it going to be? Internal or external problem? Is the problem with something going on in someone's head, or the problem with what's going on in the outside situation and processes? And once you've determined whether it's an internal or external problem, internal like Scrooge. Scrooge, the story is about a problem caused by internal considerations. Whereas if you look at something like Die Hard or Aliens, for example, that's the original Alien or Aliens. It's an external problem that's the difficulty. So you divide your problem into internal or external, and then you say, is it a state or a process? Which one is it? Is it the way things are, or attitudes that people have, fixed attitudes, prejudices? Or is it the way things are going? Or the way somebody goes about thinking about something? So they got the right attitude, but they just screw it up by the way they think about it. Well, that's the subject matter. When it comes down to the 4 through lines, before we call them through lines, let's call them points of view. We have the objective point of view. We have the subjective point of view, looking at the relationship between the obstacle and the main character. We have the main character point of view and the obstacle character point of view. If we assign them simple English names that are not exactly true, but kind of equivalents. Main character is I, me, I. This is what I see. Obstacle character, you. I see you. I'm looking at you, the obstacle character, with that opposing paradigm, what you're saying. The relationship between us, we. That's what's happening to us. And the overview, looking at the big picture of the general on the hill, that's the they perspective, because we're watching them, all of those characters going about what they do. I, you, we, and they. Those constitute the 4 points of view the audience needs on the story mode. I, you, we, and they. Now, what do we do with those? Well, you take this structure here that we looked at, and you say, in every story, all 4 of those points of view need to be represented. But each one's going to be represented in a different place. They're like 4 different camera angles on the same ball game, as it were. Each one sees the whole game take place, but each one has a different angle on the truth. And only when you can see all 4, what it's like personally, I, what you say with the opposing point of view, what is happening between us as we argue it out between us, and the overview of the journal on the hill, they perspective, only when we have all of those can we tell, triangulate, or quadrangulate actually, where the problem is. So, does the main character see it as a problem in universe? Does the main character see it as a problem in physics? Or does the main character have an attitude problem? Or has the main character got a problem with the way they're thinking about it? You place your main character point of view on one of these classes, they're called, a class of problems, 4 different classes of problems. And you place your obstacle character opposite the main, because they are in opposition. So your main character might be, a mind character, someone with an attitude, like Scrooge. And then your obstacle character is going to be a universe character, someone who is described by their fixed situation, like the ghosts, Marley and the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future. They are locked into a situation. They're ghosts. They're stuck in a situation. That's what universe is all about. They're in a fixed situation. Scrooge has a fixed attitude. They are diametrically opposed, and that's what then causes the relationship between us and between them. And as a matter of fact, you can see, if you look really closely, and I don't know if you can here, I'm going to try and hold this up, that if you look at universe, the four types of plot considerations are past, present, future, and progress. Marley is progress, and then you have the Ghost of Past, Ghost of Christmas Present, Ghost of Christmas Future, and so clearly in the structure, the ghosts are in a situation and each explores a different aspect collectively as a group entity of these four kinds of plot considerations that have to be explored: past, present, future, and progress. Whereas Scrooge is going through over here, looking into his memory, all those flashbacks, looking into his subconscious, his underlying feelings, looking into his preconscious, his immediate reactions that he has without thinking, and looking at his consciousness, what's going on in his mind right now. So that's how the Dramatica structure works. It helps you line up the points of view with the subject matter that you're looking at. Now, why would you want to do that? Because you want to give your audience perspective. Perspective. Now, if I hold this up and look at it, if I hold it up and look at it like this, you see one side of it, and I see another. So if I position the audience where you are, then this is what it means. If I position the audience where I am, my side's what it means. Something completely different. On the other hand, if I move my position and come around to the other side, then I'm seeing it from here, and now that's what it means. You see, an object by itself doesn't have meaning. It doesn't have perspective. It is what it is, but it has aspects, facets. And because when you adopt a point of view, you're looking from one point outward, that means that you can't be omniscient. You don't have the whole world that you can see. You see from one point and it moves outward. That's shaped. So you're stuck by virtue of having an identity of not being able to see everything because you're fixed in one little point, one little place. So that point of view can only see part of the truth of something, meaning you'll never know the complete truth. As a matter of fact, in the Dramatica structure we were looking at, there are these four classes, but you're never actually going to find the real problem outright because all four will quadrangulate on the problem which sits at the center. By the time you go from the top broad strokes down to the small details in your story as it unfolds for all of these four different areas, you will bring your audience sharper and sharper into the dead center where they will finally be locked into the specific feelings and points of view that you want them to have by giving them those 4 points of view.